Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here to do a final flip through of the True Junk Journal that I did a couple of process videos on. So as you can see, it turned out massively chunky, but you know, that's fine. I quite like them chunky. So I've got my tape measure here. It's slightly smaller than the envelope style journals that I normally make because I just used the book pages to make the cover. So it's about 5.5 by 5.5 inches, that is, by just over 8, so sort of 8.25 inches. And that massively chunky part is about 3.5 inches at that deepest part. So the actual journal is held bound by, or sorry, not bound, closed. It's a while since I've done a flip through. Is the closure. What I'm trying to say. The closure is just this soft lace. This is some vintage lace that I was lucky enough to buy a whole ream of. It's in very pretty pale pink, and I have distress inked just one side of it. The other side I haven't. And it's a stretchy lace. So that's how it's held shut. Now the front cover, it is some book pages that I think I used 3 and glued them together and then stitched around them to form the cover. I haven't Mod Podged it. Now normally I do Mod Podge hardcover or, you know, these paper cover journals. I didn't do that with this because it's got a really nice feel. The book pages were slightly, well, they're not sheeny, that's not true at all, but they have a really nice soft feel, so I didn't really want to Mod Podge it. But of course, whoever purchases this, you could Mod Podge it very easily. So all I've done is literally popped on this little, like a book plate here, which is just a, what's the word, die cut piece. And then I've just popped some vintage lace trim down the side, just at an angle here. And I've just popped on one of my little stamp charms there with a little polka dot button, and that's just held on with a bulb pin. So that's that. And going inside the journal, I mean, I love how this turned out, I have to say. I think it just looks really nice, and I am planning a series on making another one of these. It's just kind of as soon as I get round to doing things. So on the inside of the front cover, we've got this pocket here with a vintage image, and then we've just got a little ticket or journaling spot there. And then I just popped this image on here, which I just thought looked really nice, and you could write there, "This journal belongs to," or something like that. And I've popped a stamped image of a butterfly, another stamped image up there, and just some lace trim. And then inside the pocket, I've just made a massive tag here from one of the gorgeous Reader's Digest images, and I've backed that onto some scrapbooking paper. And then there's a little fold out flippy piece just of some coffee dyed paper there, so that just goes in. On the facing page, we've just got a corner tuck spot with one of the Reader's Digest images, some gorgeous paper there, and a butterfly, and then a little stamped image in a sort of pale colour there. And I just made a tag here with just some scraps of paper, and then some of my fabulous flowers acting as a little tuck there. We've got the stamped word "amazing," and as you can see, that's just scrapbook paper, and this just tucks in there for another little piece of journaling there. That just tucks up here. And if you followed any of the process videos, I mean, this really is quite a scrappy junk journal. We were just using ephemera and things that were laying around on the desk, along with the 2 different book images. So, you know, things are an eclectic mix, let's just say. So here we've just got another corner tuck spot with another Reader's Digest image. We've got a little butterfly and a flower. And tucked in there, we've just got a couple of journaling cards. One is just a little printed image, and this one is obviously a vintage book page that I've backed onto some book paper. They just tuck in there. Up here, I've just got some fabric, which I've stamped some script on, just for decorative purposes. Here, we've just made a little tuck spot with, again, another book image, and we've got another book image there that, again, I've backed onto some book page for a tag. And then we've just mixed up some images here on the page. Yeah, just an eclectic mix, but works strangely really, really well. You've got a paper ruffle as well that's been stapled across there. Going over the page, we've just got here, this is one of the stamped images that was gifted to me by Laura. So thank you, Laura. I have been hoarding all of your stamped images, but it's really time that I do get around to using some of them. So I just thought that looked lovely there. So I've just inked him up and just popped him in as a little corner tuck spot. Again, just another journaling card from the vintage book images, and that just slots in there. And then I just stapled together a couple of stamps onto some lace and just popped that on for some decorative detail. And there's just some obviously background paper in the background. Then here we've just got an image from the book and some background page there. I think that is actually a tuck spot, and clearly forgot to put something in there, so I'm just going to take this little envelope piece out and pop that in there. Then going over the page, we did this one on the process video. I love how this page turned out. I just love this image so much, it's just gorgeous. So we've got the gorgeous image there of this carriage, and then we've just coupled it with a stamped image here, one of those stamped memories blocks, some paper ruffle there that's been stapled down, and then we've just popped in a couple of little pieces here for journaling. We've got another little dotty button on a bulb pin, and that just goes in like that. Then on the facing page here, we just made a corner tuck spot. We've tucked in a couple of little images, again one from the book, and a little tag that's just held on with a brad there. And then we've also tucked in a little printable that I just thought toned quite nicely with the colours. And then we also made a little fold out flippy piece here, which just tucks under the banner. It's just for interest, you know, so that you've got something a bit more interesting to look at on the page. So, I mean, I just think that looks really nice. So then going over the page, we've got another little fold out piece that's just folded here. This is quite stiff card, and I've just folded it down, stamped image there, an image here from, I think, the Enid Blyton book actually. And then we've got a journaling spot here. Again, this was one of the Laura stamped images, as was this. And I've popped that in the middle of this piece from my very vintage kit. So hopefully you can see that, but I just thought that looks really lovely. And then I've just popped some lace and then held on with a bulb pin, just a teeny tag and a vintage button there. And then obviously you've got a journaling card from the vintage book that just tucks in like that. And then on this page, we've just got an altered paperclip, had to remember there because I obviously did this before my holiday. Holding in just a little file folder. As you can see, very scrappy this is. It's been coffee dyed, but it's obviously, I think I actually burnt this with the iron, if I recall. I mean, it's a very long time since I made these, but I think that's what's happened there. So it's peeling off on the iron. So it's quite a scrappy piece, but I thought looked really nice. And then we've just layered up a couple of things here. Again, another stamped image from Laura of this pen. Made a little paper clip here with a stamped image of a clock, and I've just held that on to the page with the clock. So again, I mean, just really quite simple, but looks really nice. And then the paperclip is actually holding this page also, which is a page from the Reader's Digest, which again, I just backed it on, I think, yeah, double layered it onto some book page so it's double thickness. And then I folded it down to create a little fold out piece. And then underneath there, we've just got a little tuck spot here with another image from, I think, the Enid Blyton book. And I just tucked in a little journaling card there and a journaling spot down here. So if we just clip that back, so again, I'll just obviously clip this back on, and that paper clip is, as I say, acting as a double holder. And then on this page, it's quite plain. It's just got a couple of layered things up on here and some bits down here stamped on very lightly, so you could easily journal over there. Then going over the page, we've got here a little fold out piece, which, provided I haven't glued it down, folds out double. And that just goes in there. This is an envelope pocket page. So we've got here, obviously, the pockets. We've got layered up various pieces, little vintage book image. And then we've got here, these are some, like a book of receipts that I managed to get hold of and buy. And I've just coffee dyed them all. And you've got a whole strip there of 4. So I just left those folded. I thought they were quite nice. And then here I've just got a little tiny tag with a Dance Till You Drop sticker on there and a little stamped air balloon. Again, I mean, I just thought they were fun and just went nicely with the colours. And then here we've just got a flower and a journaling spot, and then it's also a little side pocket. So in there we've just got another journaling card with a vintage image. That goes in there. Then on here, it's hard to remember what I've done. Right, we've made a matchbox book, and that just tucks in like that, and you've got room for journaling. Now this was very stiff card, and when I actually coffee dyed this, I tried scrumpling, putting it into a ball to do it, because I thought it would have a really lovely effect. I mean, as it happens, the card was so stiff it didn't really iron out properly. So I just want to point that out. This is quite creased, but it has been ironed. But you could still easily journal on there. So that's that. And again, layered up some various pieces on there. And then you've got a little flower behind and some of that stamped on fabric there. And then going over the page here, we just made a little tuck spot and then popped in a couple of printed pieces for journaling, layered up some other bits and bobs and some lace, and just again things that were laying around on my desk that I just thought just went perfectly with this journal, and a couple of little postage stamps there. Hopefully you can see that. And then on the next page we've got here, what have we got here? Again, it's quite hard to remember. So again, I made a little paperclip there with a stamped image of a ticket. So teeny paperclip that is, and that's holding this little fold out piece closed. This is just some paper bag with a vintage image on the front. So rather nice, and that's just going around this journaling spot. There is a little tiny bit of text still showing from the paper bag, but I mean, I don't mind that. And to be honest, it is actually in complementary colours, so it's fine. So that just tucks in there, and obviously then the paper clip holds that closed. And then you've just got one of my lovely ladies' journaling cards tucked in. Got some lace trim up there with the word treasure, and then here just some background pages. And I just want to point out, can you see there, when we did the process videos, I did talk about when the paint's a bit thick, it can crack. So that's what's happened here. So, you know, I don't think you really notice it on the page, to be honest, but I do want to point that out. Going over the page, we've got an airmail envelope here, which again has been coffee dyed, and I've just layered up a vintage image here with a little stamped image, paper ruffle at the top. This is a pocket, but there's not currently something in there. And then you've got a flower here with this little definition of the word love, stamped image, that just tucks in there. And then this gorgeous journaling card. I just love this journaling card so much. It's such a pretty image. I think this was from the Enid Blyton book. And again, we've just stapled on a flower and some fabric there. And I've backed it onto some scrapbook paper again that I just thought complements the journal really nicely. So that just goes in like that. And then on the facing page, this is just some background page from my Dawn Mist background papers. And then we've just clustered up some items there with some lace trim and some pearl trim. Going over the page, we've just got a little fold up piece. Again, with just some layered up pieces here, we've got a stamped image acting as a little tuck spot. So that's just got a journaling card in there with a vintage image. It's more of that stamped fabric and a button. So again, lots of room there for journaling in various places. And then on the next page, we've got, again, just a paperclip, not altered in any way, holding on this little ticket piece. You've got some more of that lovely receipt. And then here, just made a little fold out flip, and it's got a vintage image on there. Oops, it's just got a little tear there where it had obviously been glued and stuck down. And then on the flap, you've just got a bulb pin, which now I can't pull it round. Anyway, you have a bulb pin there with a little stamped tag. So hopefully you can see that. I'll just lift that up. So, and obviously the paperclip was just holding that closed. You've got another journaling spot down there and some more of the Dawn Mist papers. This is the centre signature. So finally got there. So I mean, as you can see, it's turned out a really thick, very dense album or journal. So this is the centre of the signature. There's lots going on here. You've got a belly band here, and around the belly band we created just a little fold out piece as well. I seem to have managed to have glued a lot of things in this book for some reason. So you've got a fold out flip there, and obviously one of the images from the Reader's Digest. So lots of room for journaling. That just ties up here, and it was fun to use some different papers here in this centre of this, because I felt that these Mary Mary papers from the Mary Mary kit just went really nicely with the bright colours. And then I just tucked in a little journaling card into the belly band. So that just goes in there. And then on the facing page we've just got a paper ruffle down here, and then I made a folding kind of pocket here. So you've got a vintage image down here, one of the images from the Reader's Digest, and obviously we've got then various things tucked in. So I made a little tag here just from some of the vintage images and some vintage book page and a little rose. So we can tuck that one in there. And then we've got a little flippy pad just from some scraps that were laying around on my desk that are coffee dyed, and we just stapled those and popped some fabric across the top. So that can go in fact I'm going to do this way round, I think. I'm going to put the pad in there. And then I just made a little tag here. This was another stamped image from Laura, and I've just attached a little butterfly to there and distress inked it. So that just goes in behind. So, and then we've got some lace just tucked in behind there. On the next page, we've just got some flowers acting as a little tuck spot there, some lace, and then here we've got another tuck spot with one of those images, and we just made a little tag from the vintage book page. That just is that. Then on this page, we've just got here a vintage image creating a tuck spot, some flowers, another paper ruffle stapled on there, and I just included a stamped image onto some flimsy transparency. I like the effect that gives, so that's just tucked in there. And then on the top we've also got a corner tuck spot here with again some vintage image and some stamped images, and that's just acting as a little tuck spot for a little foldy flippy pad. That just goes up like that, and then we have the transparency in there, and you can double tuck that. So she says, and now I can't. Oh, why do I say things and then I can't actually do them? There we go. So you can have that double tucked in like that. And then on this page we've got a little pouch or pocket. We've got another vintage image there. We've got some decoupage napkin with just a little piece there from some scrapbook paper. This is also a little tuck spot in the side, so I just made a journaling card there with some scrapbook paper and a stamped image. That goes in there. She says, again, struggling to put that in around the tripod. And then we've got another vintage image backed onto, I think this was just some more of that paper bag. So that just goes in there. Bit of the fabric stapled across the top. And then just some variety of items here. And we've just used the flowers again as a little tuck spot there. Going over the page here, we've got some of that paper bag. And then we've got a vintage image here. We've got some of the Dawn Mist papers and a journaling spot, a little butterfly and a paper ruffle. And then tucked in there, we've just got another journaling card that just tucks in like, oops, like that. Then on this page, we've just got, why have I? Oh, no, I haven't. I thought I'd glued that in, but it's actually a flip out, which obviously I couldn't remember that either. So this is a piece from the Reader's Digest. I've just made a pocket here, and then I've just stuck on some pieces here, and this acts as a little stopper for this fold out. So you've got some coffee dye paper here creating a fold out, and that tucks in behind there like that. So that just holds that closed. You've got a little piece of fabric there as a tab on the side of the page, and then in here you've just got another journaling card just with some background papers, little tag there, journaling label there, and a fabric tab. So that just goes like that. Then going over the page again, we've got here just a fold out piece with a vintage image, and that's acting as a pocket for a stamped piece there. So oops, we've got a pocket there, fold out piece, and then these flowers are also acting as a big pocket for this large journaling card, which is just some coffee dye scrapbook paper. Then on this side of the page we've just made a little corner tuck spot with again some of the Dawn Mist papers and a Reader's Digest image, and again just a vintage image there to form a journaling card. Going over the page, we've got here some decoupage napkin onto some sheet music. It's not decoupage napkin, sorry, stamped image onto some sheet music, and some layered up images down here. And then we've just got another little journaling card there, and that just tucks in. Then on this side of the page, we've just got a little fold up flip, so you could journal on there. Got a Reader's Digest image with some lace, and then you've got a journaling spot here, and you've got a little journaling card from a vintage image that just tucks in up here at the bottom. Going over the page, you've got here a little corner tuck spot, teeny one, with just a tiny little journaling card that pulls out there. And then here we've got a little fold out piece which just literally folds out for journaling and just tucks in behind this little piece here, some fabric and a butterfly. Here you've got a top loading tuck spot, so again another vintage image just made into a journaling card there. That just slots up. You've got obviously that gorgeous image, really gorgeous image from the Reader's Digest book, and some paper ruffle down there. And then on this page you've got a corner tuck spot. You've got another image from that Enid Blyton book, a little swirly piece here, and a little journaling label up there, definition of the word cherish stamped image there. And then you've got just a journaling card that I made here from some scrapbook paper, and backed it onto some coffee dye card, so it's quite a nice thick sturdy one. And then here you've just got a little fold out piece with some of that thick coffee dyed cardstock. You've got some more of the Dawn Mist papers, another journaling spot here with some lace trim there, and then you've got a paper clip here holding, let's remember what this is holding, right, lucky I didn't try and just pull that out. I made a little fold down flip again from the paper bag, covered it with some vintage book sheet music and a vintage book page image. Got some lace trim on there, some more of the Dawn Mist papers and some stamped fabric. So inside there, obviously it flips down for journaling, and I just popped in a stamped image on some coffee dyed paper. That just holds into place like that with the paper clip. And I've just included another little fold out piece with just some coffee dyed card or paper, and that also just clips onto there. Then on the facing page we've just got some book page here that's just got a stamped image and some vintage postage stamps, and that's just acting as a corner tuck spot. We've got a journaling spot up here, some more of that lace, and this is just a little journaling card that I made with a little Martha Stewart butterfly. And you could just paint over the back to journal on that, or obviously you could stick a photograph or something on there. So that just tucks in like that. And then going over the page, this is about the plainest page in here, I think. So I've just got some sheet music and a little one of my rose cameos and a butterfly there on there. And then on this page, we've got some coffee dyed paper up here for journaling, some doily piece and some of the Dawn Mist papers. Some of my fabulous flowers that are just acting as a little tuck spot there for this journaling card, again from the Reader's Digest, and I've just backed it onto some of the scrapbook paper that I just thought went quite nicely. And then you've got Dream a Little Dream on some fabric down the bottom. And then going over the page, we've just got an altered paperclip, very simple, just with this stamped image of this journaling card. And that's holding in, so it's holding in this, but there's also a little pocket piece here. So this again, an Enid Blyton image. You've got some more of the Dawn Mist papers, another vintage stamp. This is a little foldy piece, I think. Oh no, it's an envelope piece. Again, just made from some paper bags, so hence the patterns and things going on here. And in there, I just made a couple of teeny weeny little journaling spots. They're just those vintage images backed onto some paper bag. So I thought that was really sweet. And they just obviously slot in there. And then this closes under the postage stamped image there. And I've just layered up some book page and some sheet music. So that tucks in here. And then here I've got, oops, a couple of things. I've got that gorgeous, gorgeous contents page from the Reader's Digest. I don't know why, but I just absolutely love the font on here. It just looks lovely. And then on the back, it's got this beautiful image. So I just thought I would include that. And then here, this is an altered envelope flippy thing that I managed to pick up just from a charity shop here. I'm not sure whether this is vintage, if I'm truthful. You know, I don't know the age of it at all. But it was just a little set of a few of these similar coloured things. And I just thought this was quite nice. So you've got obviously all of that for journaling on. I've coffee dyed it. And then all I've done was on the front cover, it had, I actually can't even remember what it did have, but it had some sort of images anyway that I was keen to cover up. So I've just done a bit of stamping up here and then a bit of sort of collage of the Reader's Digest book and some fabric, a couple of vintage postage stamps, and then on the flap, which also had a couple of things on there that I was keen to cover up, I've just popped some book page font, you know, text book page on there. So I love how that feels. It feels really vintage. I mean, as I say, I don't know whether this even is vintage, but it certainly feels it now. It's lovely. I love it. And then obviously you've got that piece of book page as well. So that all just clips on at the side, oops, like that. And then finally we're on the inside of the back page. So this is some packaging which I just altered and stuck on a vintage image, and some more of the Dawn Mist papers up here, some lace down the bottom, and that's just holding again a massive journaling card, I think again from the Enid Blyton books. And again, I've just popped on a little polka dot button with a bulb pin and then just backed it onto some pale coloured scrapbook paper. That just tucks in there. So, I mean, it's turned out absolutely massive, and obviously the back's just plain, absolutely massive, but I really love how it turned out. So I hope you guys really like it too, and obviously it's going to be listed in my Etsy shop to coincide with the video going up. Yeah, so I mean, obviously if you want to check it out, then you know the link to my Etsy is shown below. So I hope you like it, and as I say, I'm going to do a little mini series or a series doing a similar journal like this as soon as I get around to it. So yeah, I hope that you like it, and thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks then, bye.